thank everybody that decided to come out today. Weren't sure how many were going to be able to make it on a Tuesday in the middle of the afternoon, but got to try something. So, my name's Aubrey Culver. I'm an officer with the Lowell Police Department. I've been here almost 3 years, but I've been in law enforcement for 16 years now. And today, thought I would talk a little bit about scams and frauds. And the reason I brought this up to Chief first was here right in town, we've been taking a very large number of calls from people that not only are getting targeted by scammers, but they're actually becoming the victims of scammers. And I know people see news reports and things on social media and papers saying, don't give anybody money, don't give anybody your information, and yet it still happens. And why? It's because the scammers and these people can be very convincing, or they compile just enough information to make you wonder, if it's not real, how do you know so much stuff? Okay. And scams and con artists and frauds and swindlers, there's nothing new about that. You've had, back on the boardwalk, you had your grifters playing the shell games, and all they need to do is show you that it can be done, and you'll plop your money down and you're going to give it a try because you're going to walk away big, right? Doesn't work. Then you move into your snake oil salesman. You had those back in the gold rush, California in the 1800s. Started off as a legitimate thing, but then this guy, the first guy decided I can do it cheaper, I can make more money off of it, and then became a complete waste of everybody's money. And all you have to do is get one person to believe it, and they can convince the next person and the next person. Now that, we get into pyramid and Ponzi schemes, right? What works for one guy is going to work for me eventually. So you had Charles Ponzi out in the 1920s, and he started the whole thing. If you invest, I'll make you money, you get your percentage back, you get more people to invest, down, down, down. Somebody's going to run out of money somewhere. And if you don't have a product to sell, there's not going to be anything else coming in. And a lot of people say multi-level marketing and pyramid businesses and things in the realm of what Amway might fall are schemes. But Amway has a product to sell, and if you don't want the product, you don't buy the product, right? Okay. When it comes to you put in money and get other people to put in money and then you'll get money back, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. At least doesn't to me. But so those are the monetary things where it's directly, I'm going to take your money. But you also have things where people play on your emotions. So between the 1870s and the 1940s, you had what they would call Lonely Hearts papers, Lonely Hearts ads. And people who were by themselves, widows, anything like that, and they were looking for companionship. They put an ad in the paper, and someone would answer the ad. And it would just become gaining their confidence, getting into their lives, and suddenly the innocent person now becomes the victim. They're getting their money, they're getting their things, they're getting their homes, and you're not only ruining them financially, now you're ruining them emotionally. Okay? So scams and frauds play on a whole level of things. I mean, they can just be, I'm going to take your money, but now I'm going to actually ruin your life and take your money. And unfortunately, we've gotten to a point where not a lot can be done about scams in most cases. And you have the basics of any scam, fraud, con, swindle, whatever you want to call it, is a trick or a ploy to cheat another person out of something of value. Usually it's straight up money or anything of monetary value. And the outcome is always going to be the same. And you have your short games and your long games. It's like when I go back to the shell games and you're on the boardwalk, that's easy. You plop your money down, you lose. You still have something similar to that today every time you walk through a carnival. Most of those games are impossible to win. It's statistically, you can win them if you know all the ins and outs, but you're probably not going to win anything. And you're going to plop down your money and give it a try anyway. And some people play the long game where they will invest themselves into people. And then that's when they end up getting bank accounts, retirement funds, homes, vehicles, and everything else. Just depends on how much patience and time and how much they want out of something as to what effort they're going to put into it. Most of the stuff we've been dealing with is a little bit of a combination. They're not going to put a lot of time into it, but some of them will put a chunk of time into it. It won't be a quick thing, see if it works, if it doesn't, move on. So you figure back, you have to have a vulnerable person to be a victim. No, not really. Males, females, the elderly, the young, the rich, the poor, anybody's going to be a victim if the right person gets a hold of them. There are so many different tactics that they use. And when I started a number of years ago, the big thing was to mail someone just a paper check out of nowhere. Here's $1,500. Well, I'm going to give you this check for whatever reason. Your long-lost uncle won the lottery, forgot to claim it, and you're the beneficiary. Now, all you have to do is deposit this check, and you are $1,500 richer. What they would do in that scam is as soon as you deposited the check, they would then be able to access your account, because then they could see what account cashed their check, wipe out your account, close themselves down, and move on. Okay? So it didn't take much because people didn't see anything. There weren't any strings attached. I just got this check. All I really have to do is put it in the bank. I'm good. And people would give it a try. And then they would come back to us and say, what happened to my money? Well, this is what happened. And some people we did try to warn. They'd bring us the check and they'd say, is this real? And we tell them, no, it's definitely not real. Don't do anything with it. They wanted to give it a try anyway. Unfortunately, it didn't work out so well for them. And so not a lot of people use the post office for communication on a large scale anymore. So that sort of phased itself out. And the next thing you kind of started to get were these phone calls. People would get phone calls from someone identifying themselves as their brother, their uncle, their grandson, and say, the big thing used to be, I went on a fishing trip in Canada, some catastrophe happened, I got arrested or I was in a car accident. I need you to send me money by Western Union right away. I got to get myself on this. So what they do, they run down to the Western Union with all the information that this person gave them, wire them money. And whoever on the other end would pick it up and just waltz away with it. You couldn't find them because Western Union, although you have to present yourself as the person that the money is for, that doesn't have to be a real existing person. So if I tell you that I'm Bob Smith from Detroit, Michigan, all I have to have is some piece of paper to Western Union saying, yep, I'm Bob Smith from Detroit, Michigan, you have a wire waiting for me. I then disappear into the fog, and you will never see me again, nor will you see your money again. So now, Western Union is even not really a thing anymore. So we have to find the next bit. Now we're going to go into the telephone. And one of the biggest ones that comes out, of course, is the infamous IRS. Has anybody in this room gotten a call from the IRS with urgent information? Probably everybody has gotten at least one. And when you do, they tell you that you are in arrears with your taxes. If you don't pay them right now, what are they going to do?
Take you to jail.
Take you to jail. We're going to get an arrest warrant and scoop you up and take you to jail. Now, up until recently, I used to tell people, when have you ever put your phone number on your tax return? Used to not. However, in the last couple of years, there is now a slot for your phone number on your tax returns. But it used to be many, many years ago when I started doing my tax returns, nobody ever asked for my phone number on there, so how did they get my phone number? One thing you need to know about the IRS is they're not going to call you. If they have anything they want from you, they're going to send you mail on their letterhead with reference numbers and everything else. And the one thing about the IRS, if you get some paperwork from them and you're confused, like I shouldn't be, late in my taxes or anything, okay, don't call the number that's on the paper. Call the number that is attached right to the IRS. That's one thing that you can do with anything. So the IRS was the big thing, and the IRS was going to put out warrants, but now police departments are calling you and telling you that you have a warrant. You know. Most people that have a warrant know they have a warrant. There are very few people that are legitimately surprised when they find out they have a warrant. Okay. Just gonna, maybe Chief can confirm that. Yeah. So, yes, very few people don't know they have a warrant. So, the Kent County Sheriff's Department calls you. The Lowell Police Department calls you. It looks legit. Even the number that you know to be as their contact number pops up. So how does that happen? Are they really calling from that? No. There are free programs now that will just generate a number for you, or you can type in the number that you want the people to see that you're calling from. See, you are even surprised by that. Yeah. So if you get a call from the Lowell Police Department, it might be us, but one thing I can guarantee that we will never tell you is that you have a warrant. And if you do have a warrant, I'm not going to ask you for the money to take care of the warrant. It's a whole different process we go through when warrants are floating around out there.
Because I do get numbers from the 897 or the 987, both of those.
Yep.
And they ended up not being legit.
Yep. And that's all they do. There are programs where you can type in the number that you want the recipient to see. Otherwise, there are ones that will just, you dial and it will just generate some random number that the person you're contacting gets a hold of.
Yeah. My husband asked me when I got home from work one day, how come I called him 4 times? It wasn't me.
Yep.
And he said, if they call again, you answer. So I did. Said, my number.
Yeah. I've had my number call me before.
That's,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. So, yeah, that's, and obviously, you're not calling you, something's wrong. Yes. So, you
What
have.
are they trying to do with that, though?
What's that?
What are they trying to do when they're calling you with that? And what's their whole process for doing
If
that?
it's just a random number, they're just rolling the dice that you'll pick up. Just see who it is. Then whatever ploy they're trying to use, they're going to start it.
Except most of the time, they disconnect. So what's the purpose for them?
That one, nobody really knows other than
What are they trying to do?
sometimes there was a scam for a while where a number would call, there wouldn't be an answer on the other end. You might say some words. Hello, this is so-and-so, a yes, a no, or something simple like that. Then what they would do is they would be able to take your statement and then use it for something else.
So your voice.
Yes.
It could be a boiler room operation where every operator is already busy, or it could just be a way to find out if somebody, if it's a real phone number.
Yep, that's,
Oh.
yeah, there's all kinds of reasons that they're doing it. And some calls that you get that seem suspicious, I mean, it might be from just a call center that's gonna try and sell you something. That's, they call you at, the ones that call you at dinner time. They used to annoy you and try and sell you magazines or whatever. I don't think anybody buys magazines, but that's, things just kind of run their course. So you had the mail, and you had phone calls, and after the phone calls, what came next were email. And email is still big because people still will fall for this. You're gonna get an email, and it says, we weren't able to process your Netflix payment. Something wrong with your card. You need to get a hold of us right away. And they'll give you all the information you need right in that email to click or to call. Okay. Well, if they sent that to me, it wouldn't work. I don't have Netflix. So obviously, they're trying to get something out of me. But let's say I did have Netflix. Instead of contacting the information in this email, it might be from Netflix, but it's just as easy to go to the Netflix website, open up my account, make sure my credit card hasn't expired, which happens, or call their customer service line. You're going to get right to Netflix. And if they say, you tell them, I just got an email saying you couldn't process my account, they'll open it up and go, no, everything looks good to us, don't need to worry about it. But what people will do is they'll click the links, and they'll go through and they'll make the calls, and they'll give whoever on the other end is a credit card, debit card, bank card, an address, anything else, and then they'll take whatever they can get and they will use it in some nefarious manner. So anytime you get a suspicious email and there's an actual entity that you can contact, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, a myriad other things that are now online or solely online, they'll still have a way for you to contact them directly. There's no need to go through that specific email. Yeah.
I think an easy giveaway though is look at their email, look at the address.
Well, some of them, yes, and some
And
of
some of
them,
the addresses will, and then click, that address won't be.
but some of them will. Now, some of them that used to be more accurate, now some of them have actually concocted websites that look exactly like the website you're looking for, whether it's Apple or anything else. And it will take you to this, it redirects you to this other website. If you were to type in, let's say, Netflix.com, it would take you to a website that looked exactly the same, but you are in their website. But these other companies, if they're getting enough money, like I said, they're going to invest time and they're going to play the long game. They're going to do something like that. They will construct a completely mimicked website and have it function the same way, just enough to get you on the end of the line. And that's all they need to do. So anytime you get an email, even if it's, yes, I did place an Amazon order, okay? I'm not gonna go through this email. I'm gonna go on Amazon's website. I'm gonna look at my order. Nope, looks like it's gonna come here by the mail carrier tomorrow. If it doesn't show up tomorrow, obviously there was something wrong with it. Everything you get an email for, just go to its originator. That's one big way. Then you're not being secretly redirected to a back door of something that's over in Iran or wherever it could be. They're everywhere. That's the problem, which I will get into in just a minute.
I might point out, if it doesn't have your name on it, if it just says dear customer, that's a big red flag.
Not always.
Not always, but.
I just, because it is so easy, well, to even get into that mindset. It has my name, it must be legitimate, it has customer, it must not. Not necessarily. Because I can find a whole bunch of different information on anybody. Anybody can. Others can too in a minute. So that's email. Then we get into the realm of the text message. Now it's super easy because they're going to send you a text message and all you have to do is click what's blue highlighted or text them some secret word. If you have things connected to your cell phone, you have like Apple Pay, or if you build things through your cell provider, then get into that because you've just okayed it, okay? So there's so many ways that they can do these things with, all they have to do is get you to click a button. That's all you've done. And now it opens you up to everything. They can take whatever they want. So we have text messages, and now we have social media. Social media, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist are probably the hubs of all of these. Craigslist, one big thing that still happens, there are a lot of job offers on Craigslist. Opportunities to work, especially when people are out of work and looking for something that they can do just to get some money in their pocket. There's a great work opportunity. Oh, looks like it's in construction. Okay, I have background in construction, let me read this ad. We're a construction company out of Ohio and we have some jobs in Michigan. Looks like they're in your area. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna send you the money to buy the supplies. What you do is you go, cash the check, send us back $200, take the rest of the money to Menards or Lowe's or whatever, go buy the supplies. As soon as you have the supplies, let us know and we will send you to the job site. Well, when they go to contact them to tell them that they have the supplies and they're ready to be assigned, well, that email address doesn't work anymore, neither does that phone number, and by the way, the bank just told me that this check is fraudulent and I am now on the hook for $2,000. So they haven't necessarily wiped out your bank account, but they have made you liable for the amount of the check that they've written, and you already sent them back $200. It cost them nothing, and they made $200. That was it. Simple as that. And the banks do not give you your money back, and if you've spent that money and Lowe's won't take back the materials that you've purchased or whatever it is that they've sent you to do, they're yours now. It ends up being your responsibility. It doesn't seem like they got a lot of money, but all they have to do is that a handful of times. Let's say you send out 20 checks, two people give you their money back, you come out $500 ahead, you spent like 2 hours putting stamps on envelopes. Okay, seems, pretty good payoff for the time you've invested. That's all they do, and they do that in such large volumes. Another thing Craigslist I've seen is advertisement wraps for your vehicles. You guys familiar with those? You drive by a vehicle and it's a Monster energy drink or something on the side or things like that. And what they'll do is they'll say, okay, if you advertise our product, put it on your car, we'll pay you this much money. Okay, sounds good. What do I have to do? Okay, you just have to say that for the next 30 or 60 days, you'll carry this advertisement on your car. We'll send you to the guy who's going to put the wrap on it. That's all you have to do. And after the 30 or 60 days, if you want to continue, just call us back. If not, tear it off, do whatever you want. How do I do this? Okay, well, we'll send you a check in the name of the guy that's going to do this. Take the check, cash it, take the cash with you, give X amount to so-and-so, and then you keep the rest. Well, where do I meet so-and-so? Oh, looks like he can't show up. But if you go take that money and you go get some green dot cards at Walmart he'll be able to do it, he'll just meet you later.
Oh,
So, we've cashed the check, we've gotten the green dot cards. You have cash in your hand, seems okay, right? Where'd that check come from? Still another fraudulent check? Now you've sent whatever percentage of it via green dot cards to Jerry or whoever's on the other end of all this. And so opens up the world of the credit card, or the gift card frauds. Okay? So, this seems to be the big thing right now. I see it is morphing with a story that I'll have for you here in a minute. But first let me ask, has anybody ever been cheated out of any money because of anything like this?
We were sent an email from a friend at church, and asking her, telling us about his, nephew, and if I buy this gift card, then the nephew gets money, whatever. And we had just seen him at church that day,
Okay.
and he never said a word.
Oh,
So I said to my husband, I said, this is not legitimate. I said, we just saw him, he didn't say anything. I said, don't do it. So we didn't do it,
oh, good, okay, good.
but it looked very legitimate.
Mhm. Yes, and now similar things will be if you go on Facebook or Instagram and people are sending up GoFundMe accounts for someone who's had tragedy, or they're looking to get surgery or some such thing. If you're talking about GoFundMe, they're pretty good at stopping scams when they can, but some have fallen through the cracks, and we found that people have been actually tracked down and prosecuted for the crimes that they've done. But that's very rare when you're talking about scamming people, because you really have to have a physical soul human being to locate in order to punish them. When it comes to these, the ones I'm talking about are on huge scales. And most of the time, they're not even in the United States. They're in other countries, and I know a lot of them, after talking with state police and the FBI, sometimes they'll just be out in boats in international waters with just tons of cell phones that change numbers, and they just, wing them away when they're done using them, okay? So that's why you can't find any of these people. They use burner phones and things like that where we can't trace the numbers, we can't find their locations. If they're out in international waters, in the middle of the ocean, I don't know, where to find them. They're not using overly sophisticated technology. You need a cell phone, pretty much all you need, and a signal. So the gift cards have been, it started with green dot cards. Green dot cards specifically, I remember, were the major thing. They're just loadable, pay-as-you-go credit cards. They're not attached to a bank. Whatever money you put on them is the money that you have to spend. So it's for people that don't have a bank account or things like that. So people would then ask them to go and load a green dot card and send us this. And why would they want the green dot card? Well, you have something where you go back to you're going to get arrested, you owe this money, something like that. Well, I don't know that the IRS has really taken Target cards or Starbucks cards, but now they do, I guess, because that's what the IRS on the other end of the phone is asking for. So people will be told, we can take care of this, run down to Meijer and get $500 in gift cards, or $1,000 in gift cards, or however much in gift cards. Send me the pins that are on the back of the card, and you'll be fine. So they do. They send them the pin. The pin allows them to just pull the money off the card. The card now is just an empty piece of plastic in your hand. You can't even trace where it went, because all the person needed to get the funds was the pin. And you gave them. As soon as it's activated, you get the PIN, they're good to go, and you're stuck holding them. Now, there have been some really high numbers in these scams that I've personally taken reports regarding. One of the biggest, I will take back, the biggest one I had a couple who, they were on their computer and they get a pop-up. Anybody been online and gotten some weird pop-up with urgent information, you better pay attention to me right now or something bad's gonna happen? This one happened to be about their antivirus software. So they said, oh, well, I don't want my computer to get a virus. And I read a little bit further and it says, oh, the computer already has a virus because your software was out of date. We need to fix this. Call this number right now. Oh, okay, we'll call this number. So they call the number. The guy on the other end picks up, says, oh, yes, yep. Yep, I work for Norton, and I have the cure for that. Just let me have access to your computer. When something pops up in your computer, type in the number that I tell you, and I'll have access to your desktop. Okay, so they do that. So, diddling around, or clicking, or clacking, whatever. Okay, yeah. Definitely, it's out of date. We can get you the newest version. It'll wipe out this virus. You're fine. Okay, no problem. Cost you 30 bucks. Sweet. That's not bad. 30 bucks for some antivirus software. That's a good deal. All right, all I need is your credit card number, and we're good. All right, here's my Discover card. Oh, looks like your Discover card's been flagged for fraud. Really? I just used it, but I wasn't told anything. Luckily, I have this is Norton. Norton is saying, luckily, I have a direct line to my buddy at the Discover card. Hold on, I'll connect you. Okay, do you think Norton antivirus software is directly connected to the Discover call center? I'm gonna say no, because they weren't. So they patched them over to Discover, and they talk about their card, and they said, well, looks like there's $8,000 on this card. And they said, well, no, we don't spend that much. Well, we're running through all these charges, and we've stopped activity on this card because of that. Well, what do we do? Well, if we can get this balance paid off, we'll send it to our fraud department, and they'll look into it, and they'll give you your money back. Oh, okay, what do we have to do? All right, what I need you to do is I need you to run to Meijer, and I need you to get X amount of Target cards, X amount of Starbucks cards, X amount of fill-in-the-blank cards, in these increments. When you get them all, you come back, and you give me all the information. We'll put it on your account. You'll be clear. Put you back through to Norton. You can get that all set up and so they go to Target and they get an obscene amount of gift cards, and they come back. Now the person on the other end of the phone has the audacity to tell them, "Oh no! I needed this much in Target cards. You got me this much in Target cards. I need you to go back and get some other." You can't return gift cards, just so you know, after you've activated them. So they go back to the store and get the correct increment of Target cards, and they come back. And just so we don't waste the first batch of Target cards, we'll use those to credit your account, so you'll be ahead. Okay. Give me all the cards. Give me all the card numbers. Give me all the pins. All right. Did you do that? Oh, everything is great with your card. I'm going to patch you back to Norton. What? Norton still takes that $30 for the antivirus software. When they hang up, now after they've hung up, they think that something's really weird. So then I get the call and I go out there and they're explaining it to me. And they already know what's going to happen. What I wasn't aware would be the amount of money they spent. The amount exceeded $25,000. That is the biggest dollar amount I've ever personally dealt with. So, whatever those people said or did is convincing enough to these people to go through all of that to to spend their money and to send it in that fashion. So we have in gift cards here in town, just a couple of weeks ago. The police department, the Lowell Police Department called somebody and told them that they had a warrant and they'd be able to take care of that and books would be cleared for $2,000. So run down to Meyer and go get $2,000 in Target gift cards. And they did, unfortunately. Then called one of our officers who unfortunately had to explain to them that they were out the $2,000. And they will use every ruse they can. Another one that happened here in town, we had someone got a call from their brother. On the other end, their brother said, "Oh, hey, this is Sam. Something happened and I just got arrested and I need bond money." "Oh my gosh, where are you?" "Well, here's where I am." "Okay, how do I send them the bond?" "Well, it's going to be this much money, but the jail only takes Bitcoin.
Oh.
The jail does not take cash." This is what the person was told. The jail doesn't take cash or credit cards, they only take Bitcoin. See, now we've morphed all the way into cryptocurrency. Now it's not just anything simple as cash, okay? So what happens? Because it's such a big charge, it was a hit and run and it's a felony and I have this huge bond and they need to get out. Okay. So they go to their bank, they take the cash out. They're directed as to what Bitcoin machine they are to use. They go to that, it's at a convenience store somewhere down on Vision Street in Grand Rapids. Okay? They buy the Bitcoin, they get the information, call the person back, give the information to them. "Oh, my brother's out of jail." Now we stop to think, why would my brother be in jail? Let me call my brother. "Oh, hey, I haven't heard from you. How are you doing?" "Well, you were in jail." "No, I'm at the house." Okay, so now we frantically try and get in contact with the jail where her brother was being held. Oh, that number doesn't work anymore. And that person was out $17,000 transferred into Bitcoin to have it go who knows where. And the couple who fell for the $25,000 antivirus scam, they were in their late 50s. The woman who fell for the Bitcoin scam, she was in her 70s. However, I had one where the gentleman was in his mid-20s and fell for one that cost him $2,000. Here's what happened with him. He was at the pediatrician with his son, and he got a call. He didn't recognize the number, but figured he'd answer it anyway. It was a number out of Byron Center that told him, "You missed your drug testing." He said, "Did I have a scheduled drug testing?" And they said, "Well, yeah, you were supposed to be here at 2 o'clock and you didn't show up." Why would they use that on him? He'd been on probation before, and he did have to do random drug tests. He assumed they were over because he hadn't done them in a while, but it wouldn't be a surprise to him if that was something they'd done. Well, he said, "Well, can I come in for it later as soon as I'm done here with my son's doctor's appointment?" "Well, no, it's too late. You're just going to get a fine. So it's going to be $2,000 fine." "Oh, well, how do I take care of this?" "Well, I need you to either pick CVS, Walgreens, or Rite Aid. I need you to go to one of those locations and tell me which one." "Okay. Well, there's a CVS right on the corner. I'm going to go there. Right, once you get there, send me a text message." Okay? And the young gentleman sends him a text message. Says, "I'm here." They send him these barcodes now. And all he has to do is take these barcodes up to the service counter at the pharmacy. They scan them. They go, "Okay, looks like it's going to be to this much money." He pushes the cash over because he'd hit the ATM on the way to CVS. Good. And that's it. They sent him the barcodes that they scanned in, once they were activated and paid for, they got the money. That's how fast it happened. So that's all it took. And the thing that I get now from people, especially from him, is I have all the receipts, I have everything, here you go. And I say, that's great, but there isn't anything I can do. And that's the problem. There isn't anything that local police departments can do, there isn't anything sheriff departments can do, there isn't anything state police can do, there isn't even much the FBI can do, unless it's on a huge scale and they know that there are these crime rings and they're following and tracking them.
So should that 20-year-old have called his like probation officer?
Yeah.
Or,
Well, yes, so all he had to do was call the probation department or any other number that he used to be,
okay.
in contact with during this. That's all he would have had to have done, and they would have said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And the person on the other end of the line would just go, didn't work, move on to the next one. That's all they care. That's as much as they care, is to shrug their shoulders and move on to the next one.
And the pharmacy, the drugstore is none the wiser that this barcode is fraudulent.
No, because it's just money transfer to them. It's just a faster Western Union now, is basically what it is.
Oh, at the drugstore?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really all it is. It's just fund transfer. So you have, you used to have to get money orders, and then you do Western Union and everything else, and now it's just, with pay apps, things like Apple Pay and Venmo, with a click of a button, if you say, I need $50, I can go, through Venmo, $50 from a checking account to you. Boop, you have $50 now. That's all the faster it takes. It's not physical money. It's intentional money because it's electronic, but it means the same thing. You could go now spend that $50 and I don't have it anymore. They've already deducted it from my bank. It doesn't exist to me anymore. And that's all it is. One other thing that was big here in January, and yet again, I was the one who was working on the day that it happened. Facebook Marketplace. People buy and sell things all the time. It's a little bit more prevalent even now than Craigslist is. There's certain age groups kind of jump to the different platforms and what they're going to use. It tends to be Facebook Marketplace right now. And you've always had the thing where someone wants to sell or wants to buy something from you, and they show up and they don't have the money, or they want to sell you something, they end up robbing you. You're old-time mugging, everything's electronic now, and most people don't do the physical assault and take your money because people don't really carry cash anymore, You have debit cards, credit cards, and half of the people under the age of 30 have everything on their phone. So, if they have your face, they can't even unlock their phone. And Facebook Marketplace, you can find so many things that you can't find anywhere else because you have collectors, people that have come across weird stuff, or this is just what they do. And there was a gentleman out of the Lansing area, I think he was from somewhere maybe around Howell, and his big thing was to sell limited edition Nike sneakers. We're talking like very rare. And to people that like these sneakers, these are gold. Okay. He has many, many pair. He decided he was going to list what is his inventory, and he got someone on the line. Person that he decided he was communicating back and forth with. And he said, I have all these sneakers, what do you want? He tells him what he wants. They decide that he wants eight pair of sneakers. Okay, well, it's pretty pricey. These 8 pair of sneakers, I'm gonna sell them here for $2,500. you want to pay $2,500 for 8 pair of sneakers? Yep. My son wants some, my nephew wants some, all these people want these sneakers. This is in January of this past year. And so the seller from Howell sets up a meeting place. The meeting place happened to be here in Lowell. Okay. All right. So where are we going to meet? So we're going to go meet on Grove Street in Lowell by this address. Well, first, this address doesn't exist. The address that they gave them doesn't technically exist. So, but he's none the wiser. It's like, okay, I gotta go to Lowell. Where are we gonna meet? We're gonna meet at 9 p.m. on a Saturday. Okay, drive from Howell. Well, it's a good little trip. And the seller, I think he was 25 years old. He's like, hey, Mom and Dad, you want to come with me? We're gonna go for a ride. We're gonna go to Lowell, sell these sneakers, just maybe hang out in the Grand Rapids area, call it a Saturday. Okay, cool. So they go down Grove Street, and it's at the very end. We're over by where the old rollway is. Okay. Down there. We're on the dead end part of Grove Street. Okay. We meet there, and the guy sits there. Oh, yep. We're just in that house just around the corner. We're coming. So these two guys walk, and they start talking to the guy, and he says, got sneakers? Yep, they're in the truck. So he leans in to get the sneakers out of the truck. The two guys then shove them away, pull a gun. They lean in to the cabin of the truck and hold the gun to Mom's head. Okay? And then tell him that we're getting these sneakers and we're leaving with these sneakers. Okay? So he's like, okay, I don't know. So the second guy goes, grabs the sneakers. The other guy has a gun on Mom. Son is like, nah, this isn't happening. So he tries to fight the gunman. They struggle a little bit. The gun comes down. 2 shots go off. Very close to the man's head. That was enough. The 2 guys take the 8 pair of sneakers and they run off. But there you go. That's not necessarily conning you out of something, but we've set up this whole, I mean, this is a very, you should see just the length of conversation to set this up, to put it in an area, and then when we go to tell people, it's fine to sell and buy things on Marketplace and Craigslist, but do it in a public place, or do it, or just ask the police department, hey, will you just stand in the parking lot while we do this? It's fine, we can do that, both places will. It's no big deal. It'll keep something like that from happening. So you have all these levels of things, and other things. Buying online don't necessarily end in armed robbery like that. I had a case where someone wanted to buy a utility trailer. They found one on Craigslist. The person who was selling it was going to be deployed into the Army. They were going overseas. They didn't need it anymore. Okay. So they get a price set. How do we pay this? We're going to use PayPal. Okay. I need to talk to you. Well, I can't talk to you on the phone because the Army base doesn't let us call people. Okay. All right, whatever. Let's still just do this through email. And